A Ukrainian ambush left at least 2 Russian tanks ablaze as Vladimir Putin's forces continue to struggle to retake control of the Kursk region of Russia. The Ukrainian military has released footage of the aftermath of a deadly ambush on a Russian counteroffensive this week. The video shows 2 Russian tanks in flames in the middle of a road near Zelenyi Shlyakh in the Kursk region of Russia. The tanks had tried to advance and retake Russian territory seized by Ukraine. However, the military plan ended in flames. It has been over 2 months since Ukraine's incursion into the southwestern Russian region, which has made the war hit home for many ordinary Russians and has continued to frustrate the senior Russian leadership. Ukraine continues to hold on to huge swathes of Russia's Kursk region since the incursion in early August. At one point, they controlled around 1,300 square kilometers, 500 square miles, of Russian land. The footage was shared on Telegram by the Korn Group, a surveillance and target acquisition branch of Ukraine's 116th Separate Mechanized Brigade. It is unclear if there were more Russian tanks involved in the advance. The embarrassing setback for the Russian military comes as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky gave an update on the situation in Kursk. On Saturday evening, President Zelensky said Russian forces had tried to oust Ukrainian troops from positions in Russia's Kursk border region, but that Kyiv's forces were holding their lines. He said, "Russia tried to push back our positions, but we are holding the designated lines." Russia's defense ministry said on Friday that its forces had recaptured 2 villages in the border Kursk region. Russian military telegram accounts, such as Rybar, claim that Russian forces have broken through Ukrainian defenses and cut off key supply routes for Ukraine's army. The Ukrainian advance into Kursk was intended to draw Russian troops away from frontline positions in eastern Ukraine. This has been partially successful, with Russia diverting significant amounts of troops towards Kursk as they try to mount a counteroffensive. The incursion was also intended to create a buffer zone in the region to stop shelling of Ukraine's border areas. Also, in his nightly address, President Zelensky acknowledged that the situation for Ukrainian forces in the eastern Donetsk region and southern Zaporizhzhia region was very difficult. The Russian military has reportedly lost 1,450 troops, as well as nearly 200 pieces of military equipment, in one of the deadliest and costliest days for Vladimir Putin's forces since the invasion began. On Thursday, the Ukrainian Defense Ministry released its latest estimate of losses suffered by the Russian occupiers in Ukraine, based on reports provided by the General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces. Fighting continues on both sides of the front lines, with Russian forces recently gaining an upper hand with the capture of Vuhledar, a Ukrainian stronghold in Donetsk, and its success in pushing back Kyiv's forces from the Kursk region. However, continued losses sustained by Moscow both in terms of human capital and materiel raise questions of how much more attritional warfare Russia can endure. According to the Ukraine's defense ministry, Russia lost 1,450 troops between Wednesday and Thursday, one of the highest single-day death tolls since the country launched its full-scale invasion in February 2022. While well below the record, 1,740, it reportedly lost on May 12th, which occurred amid an intense period of fighting in the Kharkiv region. This is the highest figure since September 17, 1,470, and brings Kyiv's total estimate of Russian casualties to 672,850. As well as sustaining significant troop casualties, Russia also reportedly lost 177 pieces of military equipment, including 78 vehicles and fuel tanks, 31 unmanned aerial vehicles, 29 artillery systems, 30 armored fighting vehicles, and 9 tanks. According to the Ukrainian Ministry of Finance, drawing on calculations provided by Forbes Ukraine, this takes the total cost of equipment lost by Russia in Ukraine to over $73 billion. Ukraine's ministries admit that the figures are approximate, and these far outpace estimates provided by other, unaffiliated researchers. On September 20, the BBC released its estimate of Russian fatalities in Ukraine, corroborated by family members or local authorities, putting the figure at over 70,000 since February 2022. While the true figure likely lies between these estimates, casualties on both sides have reached breathtaking levels over 900 days into the conflict. Last month, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing undisclosed Ukrainian and Western intelligence sources, that Ukraine and Russia had lost 80,000 and 200,000, respectively, since fighting broke out. As it admitted, establishing the exact number of fatalities is a difficult task, with both countries declining to publish official figures of their own losses. However, Ukraine denied the number of Ukrainian deaths published by the Wall Street Journal, with Roman Kostenko, a Kyiv politician and security service colonel, telling Radio Svoboda, "I think this is exaggerated data." He suggested that even an estimate of 50,000 could be overinflated.
Я так понимаю, наверное...